Hi, everybody. How are you doing? Welcome to another Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. Uh, Live. Whew. um, yeah, just turning up, hanging out, saying hi. And who knows really what we'll chat about or what will get covered. Obviously, I have some ideas and suggestions, but appreciate you being here. And it really is a bit of time that we can hang out. If you want to pick my brains on something, then feel free to. Otherwise, it's almost turned into just like my philosophy on things, hasn't it? Some weeks, let's be honest. So if you're here for that, then awesome. And feel free to say hi in the chat. Then I know where you're all tuning in from and what's happening in the world and what odd hours of the day it is for you as well. So 7:00 here, Tuesday night, and I literally. Hey George, welcome. Guitar, nice. I literally just picked up the guitar for the first time like 5 minutes ago today. It's funny. I had a big weekend of shows, and this kind of ties into part of what I put as some ideas for tonight on like how much practice is enough. You know, when's a song ready, and and when's it not ready, and all those sorts of things, which we will talk about. But it's interesting. I had a big weekend of gigs and shows, and that's great. And at the end of it, my voice was just feeling pretty tired. And so it's like I wanted to avoid singing and playing for a day or two. So I have. But then picking up the guitar like straight away, it's after honestly 2 days of not even 2 days. It's like, oh, okay, right. Just takes a minute or six to get back into it and feel good. So hey David, welcome. Oh, you're still on Monday. Hope it's a good one, man. California. I spent a week over there, and it's come up a couple of times recently. I'm like, I miss it. It's just really cool vibes and really cool place. I really enjoyed being over there. But yeah, this practice thing, literally, again, fire questions in if you have them, but I kind of wanted to look at it a little bit like fitness, because I think we all understand that if you don't train for a while, if you're a runner or doing sports and exercise sort of side of stuff, we're all a little bit easier to go, yeah, okay, I haven't run for a while, I haven't trained for a while, it was hard work, I couldn't lift the same amount, or maybe I still ran 5 kilometers or however long it is, but it took me a bit longer and all that sort of stuff. And then I think when it comes to guitar and instrument and music playing, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes we forget it. And we just literally are like, yeah, I'll be fine. I was playing that song great at the end of my practice session on Thursday. So yeah, that'll be fine. And we rush into things straight off. And literally, I guess the thing I wanted to point out for me, but hopefully this is useful to you as well, is from the point that we stopped a practice session, we might have gotten to here. There's literally a decline, and it might be slow. It might be quite sharp at times, but there's literally a decline. And so I think it's an illusion that I am guilty of at different times as well, of finishing a practice session being like, yeah, I've really got it down, I'm feeling good, and then kind of cold going to play at a show and being like, man, that felt pretty rough or pretty challenging. So curious who notices this, and just bring up the topic of like, at what point are we confident we really know a song? And a while back, actually, Paul Davids had a great suggestion, which was record the first playback. So when rather than, if we film stuff like, we'll do it again, we'll take 2, take 3. It's like record the very first playback, and that's kind of actually where you're at. And I mean, it's harsh, but it's accurate. And I think I say harsh because it's like, oh no, I can, we're like always, I can do it again, just one more time. But if that's a show, that's how it came out. So, yeah. David, I was in LA. I didn't venture too far from there, hanging with a mate over in LA. So, yeah. Hey, Glenn. Sydney, Northern Beaches. Nice. Awesome. Do I record my practice sessions? David, I do and I don't. It's gonna seem a little bit weird, but in general I don't. I sit and practice and work through things. When I'm looping, what's going into the loop is great feedback because you hear whether it's tight and you can be like, okay, am I really locked in or not? But also videoing and I haven't done it for a while, but I was doing a bunch more where I would video and just for my own feedback, not for like I'm going to put this anywhere, but exactly that, to monitor progress. And part of it is the pressure thing of being like, what different thoughts come up, what changes in our state when suddenly it's like, okay, the camera's on, go. And we've been noticing this with Shimna and I actually a little bit recently, doing some recording, that it's like, if we just chilled and we just sit and play a song, it's like, yeah, cool. Maybe we're not so sensitive or critical when we're just singing, playing, jamming, but also there's something that when that record button goes on, kicks in, we're like, okay, now this is serious, we've got to like actually be good, so it's interesting to notice the thought processes as well, but I don't keep them in terms of monitoring progress. I know a bunch of people that do that are literally like, okay, this, and actually you'll see on the channel later this week something that obviously the stuff I upload to YouTube is, if I think of it that way, that's like a longer term monitoring my progress, or the stuff that's on Spotify where I'm like, okay, cool. I know the situations behind any days that we've recorded as well, so maybe it's different for me, but it's also really interesting to notice the change, my voice playing and all that sort of stuff through stuff that gets released. So, hey, Chomley. Oh, strawberry picking. That sounds like a great reason to be outside and be late for this live stream. Unbelievable. That's awesome. Strawberry time. I'm a fan. Raspberry is my favorite fruit. There you go. Fun facts for the night. David, I'm curious. Do you record things yourself for your own progress in any particular format? Yeah, love to know on that side of things. I don't know whether it will end up on the YouTube channel or not. We will see with what happens. But I actually started recording myself every day as part of a practice session. So it was practice and filming with the intent of making a YouTube video out of it. I won't go into too much detail on what it is. It may end up on the channel, it may not. And then literally it has been months and months since I have looked at that piece, sung it, filmed it, anything. And obviously the practice and the work I did is still retained somewhere in there. But literally, like what I was talking about before, because of neglect, not playing it, not practicing it, it has been consistently leveling off, if you like. I'm sure someone like a statistics person or something, there'd be a graph for like, how fast things roll off, or we forget them, or lose like fitness and agility, I guess. But yeah, that's probably the only time, and I did that with the intent of making a YouTube video, that I've actually filmed every day, and it was very much more the actual practice and recording it, just being like, cool, I'll take a snippet of that to chunk day by day into a video. But yeah, I record songs for progress for reasons mentioned, to desensitize the record button, but not scales and other objects. Awesome, nice. That's cool. I hadn't thought of it specifically like that. I like that, to desensitize the record button. There's two things that happen for me, and again, curious with this is, if I record for me, it's literally the pressure level is maybe from no cares to like, okay, it steps it up a notch. If I record for like, right, I want to release this as a YouTube video, or I want to put it out publicly somewhere, if that's the intention, it steps it up a notch again. So I'm really curious on that side of things, because I think there's a certain amount that we can desensitize, and then a lot of it past that is also a mental game in different scenarios, where it's like, theoretically we should be the same approach, whether we're performing for one person or performing for 10,000 people. But in experience wise, for me, I'm just not. I look back and I'm like, wow, I maybe wasn't nervous, as excited, but it just played songs a lot faster and all sorts of stuff like that. So I find it interesting. Yeah, I think we can kind of notch levels on putting ourselves out of our comfort zone, or setting things up with that for recording as well. So checking in as well. I just put up a little video on the Voice Live 3 of looping from the main screen. I've had a few questions about that. There's good news and bad news, is that you can do it. The bad news is you don't get access to all of the loops. So if you want to find out all the details, it's in that video, but that is the gist of it. So I will be still doing some stuff with the Voice Live 3 and with the RC300 that I've got. And at some stage, the 1,001 things I want to do, but there'll be some more loop covers going up as well of tunes. And I'm curious, it's been on my radar for a while, but there was a 1 hour songwriting challenge going around a while back. And I thought that could be kind of fun to incorporate some looping in a time frame, like it, kind of what we're talking about, like a time frame of Jason / Ed. Hey man, how's it going? Welcome to Tuesday morning, I believe, 6 a.m. Nice, bright and early. I like it. So yeah, I thought that could be fun to do on the channel as well. You will possibly all see how terrible I am at writing lyrics, so we'll see if lyrics get included, or if it genuinely is just writing the framework and structure musically. And I think from a looping perspective could be fun. So yeah, feel free to, fire in suggestions. There's a lot going on, and we're heading into summer, so I will be exploring around as well, and taking a guitar with me and a camera. So I might try and get a few cool little covers, whether they're just acoustic or looped, in some of New Zealand's beautiful nature and areas that we have. But yeah, Glenn, just going back to the Voice Live 3, it baffles me that they don't do an update, that TC Helicon don't do an update to allow you to button map more options on the looping side of it. But to be honest, if I think even as I don't think I mentioned this on the video, but even as a preset, if you had a preset just maybe a couple away from where you're using, that had that one button looper where you only use one track and you overdub and that sort of thing, then it's handy. But I mean, the downside is you get so used to switching between loop layers that then sort of becomes irrelevant, because if you want to add something in on another track, you'd still have to switch. So yeah. Hey, Karen from Spain, what kind of looper do you recommend for a starter? It's an easy question and a really tough question. If you genuinely just want to experiment with looping and start exploring, then I think things like the Ditto, just the single pedal, the RC1 or the RC3 from Boss are really great options, or the Jamman Digitech are really great to just get an idea and be like, okay, cool, how does this work? If you get into it and you're enjoying it, you'll find after a while they are quite limited. And the one thing that gets me, I still don't do it, and I don't like it, which does kind of happen on the Ditto X4 sometimes, even though there's a stop button, is the double tap for stopping things. So then if you, yeah, David, exactly. Then if you, and again, I don't know your position money-wise or what you want to spend and that sort of thing as well, but if you want to do something that's more advanced and going to give you a lot more capacity and to be honest, a lot more fun if you get into it, then there's things like the RC30, the Ditto X4. So these are 2-channel loopers. Yeah. And there's literally so many. Every time I do a search, there's other brands making loopers, and I don't think there's a wrong way to go. But doing a little bit of research and again, finding out where you think you might want to go with it. If you're performing live, I would definitely suggest starting from the likes of the RC30 or the Ditto X4, rather than any of the smaller pedals. And the smaller pedals, I think some of them as well, I like for the fact that they can be battery powered, which as things get larger gets a little bit trickier for just doing either like busking things or being able to go and record in a remote location. Just things that I enjoy and appreciate rather than necessarily what you want. But thanks for tuning in, Karen. I hope that's useful. Let me know a little bit more about what you're doing or hoping to do with the loop pedal, and then maybe we can refine that a little bit. Jason, it's good. I did the first 3 shows. So just asking about the RC300, I did 3 shows this weekend with the RC300. Very cool. I'm really enjoying the tone of just having my natural guitar go through individual pedals and through the RC300, which is really interesting because and playing around the other day making this video with the Voice Live 3, I was like, oh, this sounds cool. So it's interesting. I hadn't noticed how accustomed I'd got to the tone of the Voice Live 3, to the settings that I was using predominantly. Just gotten really used to it, and it's great sound. Just there's something about the individual pedals in the rig with the RC300 that I'm really enjoying sound-wise at the moment. So I'm enjoying it. It's good. I've mapped out a bunch of the control buttons and using them to start certain things, which is really, really useful just for what I do in terms of separating out those three loops, and also being able to have things be quite punchy with starting, for example, tracks 1 and 2 together, or 1 and 3, or different combinations, which is part of why I wanted to go with the RC300 as well, because those were options. So yeah, it's going very well. I'm enjoying it. And yeah, looking forward to actually doing a few videos using that as well, which will get uploaded on the channel. So you guys will see a slightly different flavor and how things get created, I guess. Yeah. Glenn, do I use different presets for different songs? Yes, but not significantly. I tend to have one main preset that I use for a lot of things, especially if I'm playing acoustic predominantly. So I tend to have one main preset that's a pretty good sound. And then I have a few things where I have a preset for a specific song where I want a few different changes. But I don't vary it every song. I know there's some people out there that literally, and this is just not me, that literally are like, I want to match the tone of this and this and this for every song, which is amazing. Very, very cool. I don't do that. I might have some options, different changes of tone and sound for a solo or for a different lead sound, or I'll often use like a crunch sound as and literally pretend I'm playing an electric guitar for a tune or three, but in general, I kind of, it's mostly based around one. So selection wise, I just know that, okay, I need to go up 4 presets for the song, rather than each song changing. But yeah, if that's it may be what you do in terms of like you're dialing in tone for everything, which is awesome. It's amazing. But yeah, it's just not something I do. So in terms of that, I think you will have to figure out what works best. I can't really offer a lot, I don't think, on selection from that side of things. But yeah, I'd love to know at this point as well what you're all working on, and I guess that's, yeah. If there's a particular loop song you're working on, love to hear it. I will be diving into Cruel Summer, Bananarama from whatever year it was. Thanks, Chris. We're going to look at that. It's a Patreon request that we've been chatting, and I'm intrigued. I had a quick look when we first chatted, and I'm intrigued to see kind of what options there are in terms of looping this. So that'll be fun. But other than that, I'm still basically, the thing that's on repeat for me learning wise is Resolution by Matt Corby that I was playing last week. Cheers, mate. Yeah, and just interesting the amount of time for me. It's still not there. I've played it a couple of times as kind of test runs. It's worked, but it's definitely like not locked in, if that makes sense, as a track and as a new song. So yes, we'll see. Otherwise, it's just literally repetition, playing it over and over and over again, and each time something else sinks in and locks in, becomes a little bit tighter, a little bit nicer. So yeah, I'd love to know if there's any particular loop songs that you're all working away on, or if it's just like general noodling. That was I like it. Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Nice. So we will probably, if there's questions, let me know. I'm going to stick around briefly if there are questions, but otherwise, I'm going to make a move for this evening. So, hey Sven, Jason, idea for songwriting. What about a line or two from all followers throughout the world? A multi-country creation. That would be awesome. I probably don't have the brain capacity to do that right at the moment, but that would be very cool. And I might tuck that away as an idea for somewhere down the track. Hey Sven, wie geht's? I love it. Everyone's like waking up nice and early, and oh man, I feel like I could have a sleep. So yeah, if there's any questions, fire them in the chat. If there's questions, then I will stick around and we'll answer them and we'll dig into it. And then we'll kind of wrap this up for tonight's little live session. We are family. Nice. What is my favorite extended chord and why? I think it's great. I've never considered it. It's probably just I don't know. I would say a 13th, like that, or the 11, or an 11. Who knows? I feel like I use this more. But I think a lot of this stuff for me, I would struggle to say I have a favorite, because I think how certain things are placed in music, then suddenly it's like, oh, that was tasty, you know. But yeah, I don't think I have a particular like go-to favorite that I would say, David. But yeah, good question. It's got me thinking now. Like, why do I like certain chords? Sometimes it's just literally where it's placed in a tune. But yeah, there you go. We'll go with 13th. Power chords, major fifth. Nice. Well, cheers, team. I'm going to disappear from tonight's live stream. Thanks for tuning in. I hope we maybe sowed a little seed, some food for thought on the fitness idea of practicing and getting to a point where it's like, you know, it's going to work. Even if you've had 2 days off playing the guitar, you can jump back and you've got that song really, really nailed. As always, this is a reminder for me as well. Literally, the words coming out of my mouth, I'm like, okay, great. That's what I'm working towards and working on at the moment. So appreciate you all being here. Thanks for tuning in at odd hours on a Tuesday morning. Look forward to catching you next week and with some new vids on the channel this week. Cheers, everyone. Have a great day, eve, afternoon, lunch, wherever you're watching this. We'll see you later. Cheers.